What do you do when a show that ended a decade ago and a moderately unsatisfying finale decides to come back in a manner so explosive? How do you catch up and cope with all this new information coming through all channels so overwhelmingly? Well, lucky for you, we're here to break the basics down. Dexter New Blood is coming. Here are fans' most asked questions we want answered. Keep watching to find out which character may appear that you couldn't have thought possible. Firstly, how is it nothing like the original series? With all its highs and lows, it's undeniable that Dexter has been one of Showtime's best shows, with reruns still garnering views by the million and a solid 24 Primetime Emmy nominations. Besides that, the original series was nominated for 10 Golden Globes and a multitude of other awards. But after its last season, which premiered and aired 2013, news about this show has been, naturally enough, halted. In the season 8 finale, which aired in September 2013 and was titled Remember the Monsters, ended in what some may describe unsatisfying way. Others might describe it as especially awful, but we digress. In this particular case, it's imperative to acknowledge that the show's ending felt rushed to most audiences who had stuck with the show 8 seasons in just as many years. Arguably, the biggest question that fans of the show had after the season finale was an underwhelmed, is that it? Years of tension building did not live up to its hype, and as a result, left many feeling like the show was still incomplete. And luckily for us, this is where Dexter New Blood comes in. This season, as the directors explained, was a byproduct of all the critique they received back when the finale aired. Director Michael C. Hall explained that the chance to revisit the show itself and in the process redefine the sense of the show's ending and the sense of the show's legacy was certainly part of their motivation to create this 9th season. What has fans more concerned, or at the very least curious, is the storyline of the show may adopt for all its central characters going forward. In the last episode, so to speak, Derek had begun a quiet life in a small town in Oregon after having faked his death and created a new identity for himself, which isn't that salacious or unpredictable. At the beginning of the episode, following stress-fueled turmoil, Dexter decides to leave Argentina with his son, Harrison, and his love interest, Hannah, played by actress Yvonne Stefovsky, but is caught by Jacob Elway, about whom we might later discuss, so stay tuned. Deb was on her hospital bed by the end of the episode and later died, decisively so, and yet her return might not be as implausible as once thought, but more on that later in the video. For now, the plot outline seems simple enough, as discussed at Comic-Con on July 25th, 2021. In a later press release, Showtime describes the plot to be set in the future, that is, 2023, 10 years after Dexter went missing in the midst of Hurricane Laura. We'll start his journey in a small town fictitiously named Iron Lake in New York, and showrunner Clive Phillips even said that fans shouldn't easily buy Dexter's straight-as-an-arrow shtick right now, for the dark passenger always lives within him, and it's Dexter, so people are going to die, whether at Dexter's hands or another killer's. How did Harrison find Dexter? When Dexter left everything behind to start living as Jim Lindsay, he also left all aspects of his old life behind, including his little boy Harrison. But the trailer shows Harrison finding Dexter in Iron Lake, which might set off the whole plot of this potentially last season. Bear in mind, this is 10 years of abandonment and zero contact, for Dexter has legally been dead, and the last of Harrison we saw was him being cared for by Hannah in Argentina. The question here isn't about Dexter's grade F parenting, but actually of his knowledge about the matter in general. How does Harrison know his father's been alive? Has the father-son duo inconspicuously been in cahoots this whole time? And if not, has Harrison always suspected his father's quote-unquote death to have been faked? Is there a secret antagonist controlling the moves behind the scenes, who may have tipped Harrison off? Or did Dexter perhaps leave clues, consciously or subconsciously, to lead his son back to him once he was of age? In interviews, Jack Alcott, who plays Harrison, teased some of these answers, and also that Harrison hasn't led an easy life these past decade or so. In fact, learning about his father's abandonment and subsequent not death has been especially tough to deal with. He also gave us an insight into what this season may look like the first few episodes, tone and setting wise. He said the season might follow him following Dexter around for the first few episodes or so. Will Hannah McKay be okay? On the subject of Harrison, let's discuss his caregiver, provider, and guardian the last time we saw them both. This is what fans seem most confused about. In the trailer, despite having a full-fledged grown-up Harrison, there was no sign of Hannah McKay. Hannah, although also a killer on the run, was entrusted by Dexter to care for his son. But actress Yvonne Strahovski keeps reiterating that she is not a part of Dexter New Blood. So if we assume these reiterations to be the truth, it can be safely assumed that Hannah's not going to be present in any scene. The question prompted here is mostly, where is Hannah? And to answer that, some go for the most predictable answer when it comes to actors who can't or won't return to film the show. This theory believes that Hannah died in these 10 years. Perhaps she was the one who told Harrison about his father's non-demise. The other theory, somewhat similar, proposes that she may be in jail somewhere, but considering how keeping Hannah alive is a plot hole that can become an inconvenience later, seems unlikely. Either of these options would explain Harrison's rough last decade, though. Jacob Elway might be back, a theory, but just that. This fan theory claims that Jacob Elway, the thorn in Dexter's side 10 years earlier, might reprise his role as an antagonist to Dexter. Connecting to Hannah's lack of existence in this newer version, it's likely that after his pride took a big hit. Back when both Dexter and Hannah escaped, albeit to different places, but the fact remains he showed up. Many people believe that he might be the serious antagonist who will keep Dexter on his toes this season. It's possible that he's the reason for Hannah's absence and Harrison's subsequent rough life. In the last season, Jacob Elway worked under the MPD before he left and started his own PI firm. And from the last season, we know that he has excellent tracking skills. But when inquired by news outlets, actor Sean Patrick Delaney responded, "I hadn't been approached at all," and was adamant that the show had decided to take a whole new direction. It's always possible that he may have been playing coy, but there's no solid evidence that points to his return, which is probably the best case scenario for Dexter's mental state. Return of the Dead. Alternatively, Return of the Deb. On the other hand, though, we have actors who shouldn't be present considering their literal deaths, but are still a big part of the cast. But this season, Deb will play a grittier role, acting as Dexter's dark passenger. Family, ironically enough, seems deeply important to Dexter, and with Deb basically being the only available kin he has had for a long time, following the death of Harry, Jennifer Carpenter herself weighed in on her return to the show with Entertainment Weekly, wherein she said that her coming back needed to have a definitive purpose, and she feels as though she's cracked in. She said, "What would the dark passion passenger look like if it had an all-access pass to this man? I wanted to come back and haunt him, comfort him, console him, encourage him, love him, hate him, and ruin him," which seems perfectly intriguing. She went on to talk about how her experience shooting the show was entirely surreal and different to everyone else's because of the demands made by the role. Deb's role seems to be one filled to the brim with potential and inflicted torture, and a self-contained abyss of torment. It cannot be emphasized how her character could make the show soar to new heights, if executed well. Deb is not the only person fans are actively wanting to return. Characters like Aster and Cody, who some believe might help Harrison find Dexter, are not yet confirmed to return, but fans are desperately hoping they do. And with that, we wrap up the video. Have you been following the news about the new season as well? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked the video, feel free to press the like button, and for more videos like this, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel to get updated about every new video we post. Be sure to turn notifications on by clicking the bell icon. Thank you for watching. See you soon.